Hello you lovely people and welcome. In this video I'll be reviewing Inibuilds Messerschmitt BF-108 Taifun. Designed by the legendary Willy Messerschmitt and manufactured at the Bayerische Flugzeugwerk. If I've butchered that, I apologise. It was first flown in 1934 and was introduced for sales in 1935. Mainly as a four-seat sports recreation aircraft, because it was quite a fast aircraft for the time, so much so that the RAF managed to acquire 4 versions from private users in the UK at the break of the war. Now, being Inibuilds, it comes with a range of extras in the aircraft itself, and also with a decent load of liveries. We've got Swiss Luftwaffe, Lufthansa, Japan, US Navy, USSR, 2 variants for the Royal Air Force, and after the war, manufacturing was taken over in France by Nord as the Nord 1000 Penguin or Penguin. So we have a livery for that version there. So let's just jump into the aircraft and have a look. Now, before we even get into the aircraft itself, I just wanted to show you the outside and this absolutely amazing stowage position that it starts off in, almost like a naval aircraft. This wasn't designed for that sort of thing, obviously, but tight stowage in mind for private users was obviously thought of, and very well designed. So looking around the cockpit, it's rather spacious, obviously with the 2 seats at the front, a bench seat at the back. We have curtains to keep us covered with the top windows there, but they can be opened, and I'll show you those in a second. If we look at the instruments, they're pretty basic for the time. Well, not for the time, for what we're used to now, with the throttle on the door there, gear handle, various gauges obviously for manifold pressures, RPMs, speed, height, vertical velocity, compasses, turn slip indicator there. But we can actually change these gauges if you're not used to this this type here. So if we go into options on this awesome little tablet we've got here, you'll see we've got a gauge set. We can click that. Everything will be turned into imperial. So we now have our altitude in feet, speed in knots, and everything in what we would be used to in the UK. Other things that we have on this little pad, we can take the curtains away completely, which is kind of nice if you want an all-round good view. We'll put those back on for the moment. And maintenance and persistence. So basically every time you fly the aircraft, you get wear and tear, so it will need maintenance at some point, which can be done via this tablet. We can also get rain covers here, but they're not showing at the moment, simply because the wings are folded, I believe. Let's try. No, it's in a different option. So settings is what we're in. You get your rain covers and those bits I've just gone across. Press home. You have a timer if you want to use that. You can also check the weather at any airfield. So we're at Duxford at the moment, so EGSU. Click that. It's got no data, funnily enough. We go to maintenance, and if we zoom in on this one, so you can see I've flown it a little bit. Tyre wear, hydraulic fluid, engine oil have all had a little bit of wear, as well as the spark plugs, but not too much. And then you can just go in and replace those as and when needed. You can toggle your curtains, so at the moment they're shut. So if I hit the toggle, and they get pulled in. So you don't have to get rid of them completely. I'll keep them like that for the moment. You can also open stowage, so click that, and hear the clunk go outside. You can see a little compartment has opened up behind the bench seat at the back, and we can stow our luggage for wherever we're going to. jump back in, come back down to the tablet, close the stowage, and I'll quickly show you the rain cover. So from the inside, and if we go outside, and there you go, we have our rain cover on. Got our little advertisement there by Inibuilds, just to remind you who made this module. And yeah, it looks really good. We'll jump back in and take the rain cover off. Okay, so we're going to toggle the rain cover. Okay, that's off. I'm going to toggle the wing fold, and then we'll see what it's like from the outside. And there we go, the wings are now in their proper place and locked in and ready to go. And then the last thing on the tablet, if we click the home, we click the map there, we have our VFR map. We can switch that off there, or we can hide it by clicking the electronic flight board switch there, switch on and off. As you can see, as I said, we've got our basic bits and pieces here. Strangely enough, we have the prop pitch on a big windy, almost like a crank start on an engine there, just to let you know. But there's no real markings of letting you know where the actual prop speed is at. But yeah, everything is clickable, everything is usable. We have our fuel tank selector here, so we've got reserves, off and main. Apart from that, we can show you one final thing. Canopy handle down or unlocked. Click that, doors open, and on that side, doors open. Okay, so let's get this thing cranked up. Okay, so we're all up and running now. Sounds are pretty nice, especially from the inside. So let's have a look, see if it's got dynamic. Yeah, very good. See if I can get the other door from here. I can. That was a bit of luck. Okay, so yeah, pretty quiet from the inside. So let's have a jump outside and have a listen to the engine sounds. Wow, they actually sound really good. Very impressed with that. Let's jump back inside. Okay, so now we're going to taxi to the runway and check out the ground handling. I know that any designs don't use any type of caster, tail dragger characteristics as far as I know. So I think this is pretty much rudder push where you want to go and it will turn. Not like Flying Iron, who have their own version. So let's get moving. Okay, we're now moving. Spitty next to me. So I'm going to push the rudder. Yeah, it's pretty much push where you want to go, and it will pretty much do that. Yeah, so you don't want to be too heavy footed with it, otherwise you'll end up spinning in a circle. But yeah, not bad. It's going where I want it to go, that's the main thing. So we're going to drop one notch of flat and go straight out onto the runway. We've got automatic slats on the front there. As you can see, we have some labels on the front of the cockpit giving us some values. It's worth giving them a look, just so that you know what this aircraft is capable of. As you can see, it says right at the bottom there, not to be used for aerobatic flight. So for those of you who are expecting to do rolls and loops, sorry, that's not going to happen. The top speed of the aircraft is around about 165 knots, cruising speed 140, landing speed is an incredible 46 knots, so I'm not surprised with the wing length, to be fair. I mean, they're quite sizable wings for what it is. So yeah, let's get rolling, see how she handles. A nice slow start. Okay, slight kick to the side there. Okay, gear up. Trimming up is pretty good. Yeah, trim responds nicely. And my prop wasn't even on full bite for takeoff there, so plenty of power in the engine to get this thing off the ground. I just need to watch the manifold pressures. Don't want to overdo the engine, otherwise we will be in for some trouble. I'm not sure if that's actually simulated on this model. I know Flying Iron specialise in care of engine during flight, so be interesting to see if this actually does that as well. But like I say, if we look at the operating values here, minimums and maximums for your dials down here, so fuel pressures, oil temp, oil pressure, and RPMs, and then your cruise speed, which it doesn't seem to be on here for some reason. Max speed for RPM 2000, and continuous output 1700 RPM to 1880 RPM. So we've got our pressures there, keeping that. I would say don't go too far over 25 for too long. I'm no expert, I'm no pilot, but I tend to keep mine as low as I possibly can in the Spitfire. Okay, so let's see what the handling is like in the air. And remember, in the day when this thing was first brought into it was able to be purchased, it was one of the fastest private planes that were available at the time. And we're cruising along quite nicely, nearly around about 140 knots, as was advertised. I mean, the response is, as you would expect, it's a little bit sluggish, as it's not an aerobatic aircraft. The visuals in this thing are amazing. Reminds me of another aircraft that the RAF had. I want to say Miles Magister. Very similar cockpit layout, but I could be wrong on that one. I am wrong. I meant Percival Proctor. My bad. But yeah, the climb is good. Response, aileron response is good, elevator response is excellent. Okay, so we'll head back to Duxford and we'll put it back on the ground. Now, touching down in this has been a little bit iffy. Very narrow undercarriage, very similar to the ME109, BF-109, however you want to pronounce it. So getting the speed right down before touching down is a good idea. You don't want to be zigzagging all over the place. So let's get the speed down. Pop pitch. And the speed bleed is quite good in this, considering. Right, we'll get the gear down. First notch your flaps. Second. Might as well go whole hog actually. Got plenty of altitude as well. In fact, I think I've overdone this in the terms of altitude. It's pretty. Coming in hot. Okay, so 45 knots we're aiming for. Oh, bit faster than I should have done, really. Like I say, narrow undercarriage, so touching down can be a bit iffy. Okay, so that's me on the ground. Let's get to the summary. So, what are my final thoughts on the BF-108 Taifun? Well, as I'm usually used to having fast military types, this is a total change in pace for me, but I'm actually blown away by it, to be honest. This thing is absolutely fantastic. Inibuilds have done a great job of recreating the Taifun. It's a gorgeous model. The liveries are fantastic. The extras that you get with it, plus the maintenance on wear and tear, is always a fun little add-on to add. The little things like the wing fold for stowage, the curtains, just the little things make it what it is. Flying, brilliant, lovely and stable. It doesn't torque steer too much. It's a great little flyer. Great cross country, anything like that, where you don't want to be there in like a million miles an hour, but you don't want to be walking pace. You want something a bit decent, a bit more comfortable to cruise with. This is definitely your aircraft, and it's got an interesting history behind it. The RAF, as I say, acquired 4 at the break of the war from private flyers in the UK, and managed to capture 15 more after the war, and they continued in the Royal Air Force until the mid 1950s, I believe. So they obviously had a big impact on some of the pilots that flew them, and obviously some of the observers as well. I find it quite an ugly aeroplane, but it's a beautiful flyer. So the trade-off in looks to flying and handling is brilliant. and it's around about £17. If you've flown the P40 by Inibuilds and know how good that is, this is definitely worth every single penny. There's quite a lot in depth with the extras, the maintenance, as I said before, and it'll keep you going for a while. Certainly an interesting little flyer, and one that I didn't really ever think I would be covering on a review. So nice one, Inibuilds. I look forward to any further aircraft that they bring out, which I know the AN225 is on the verge of being released. So if it's as good as this, it's going to be a good one. So anyway, I'll leave it at this. I've waffled on for long enough, but definitely a 5 out of 5 aircraft. GA flyers will love this, and its simplistic setup. So thank you for watching if you got this far, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.